So anyways, I asked my roommate to officiate my wedding. He was like, yeah, like officiating weddings. Anyone can do that, right? And then he got married, and who officiated his wedding? Not me, right?
That's actually
right.
That's so messed up.
Can't do that.
It was like his husband's roommate officiated the wedding. Who's that guy? I don't even know who that was. Or like their brother or something.
Roommate code.
Yeah, right? Like, someone should go to roommate jail, which is just your room, right? Okay. So anyways, be careful with those roommates, because sometimes you let them officiate your wedding and they don't return the favor. So, apparently today we're learning Python. Did you all go to your sections?
Yeah.
Okay. This time last year I'd gotten approximately 400 emails about sections, and this year no one has said a peep. And I don't know if that means it's going better or worse. You all seem to mostly be sending me emails about GitHub Classroom not working. And folks, it's not. So we'll deal with that someday, probably. My proposal was we're just going to teach you how to use non-classroom GitHub, and we'll see if that happens, and that's super cool and fun. Okay. Monday, 11:59 p.m. That's the upcoming Monday. We're all locked in on that.
Yeah.
So that is 84 hours from now or something. It's 82 hours from now. If you're not done with Silksong in 82 hours, you need to work on your movement. But anyways, problem set 1 will be due at that time. There is one assignment that I expect you will want to use def statements for and for statements for, and that is newspaper. We went over part of newspaper in class. And then there is one problem that involves using while loops, and that is Carol painting. You'll have to write one Python file that can paint more than one house size. And we kind of went over that a little bit in house by showing the variable size newspaper. So you need to use while loops for that. Carol will have to think and check to see if walls are present or not present and things of this nature. Okay? Today, do you want to talk about anything on the homework? Does anyone have any homework questions of any kind? Yeah, you want to talk about Silksong.
Yeah. I've got 11 hours so far.
11 hours? Didn't it come out 10 hours ago?
No, it came out yesterday.
27 hours ago. 27 hours.
Well, why do you not have 27 hours? Okay. All right. For those of you that are not gamers in this classroom, I would like to apologize to you for the behavior of the gamers in this classroom. This is sort of like...
It's Jesus.
It's like the gamer's second coming. Yeah, this is like a quasi-religious thing going on here. It's, yes, the first coming. Yeah. Anyways. Beginning today, there's actually one remaining Carol assignment on a future homework that apparently is hard. We had a student who was like the lead section leader, so not like a section leader, but like the section leader that we tell to tell the other section leaders to section lead, right? And that person is currently enrolled in a PhD program down the street in computer science. And this time last year, that person came to me and was like, wait, how do you do Carol checkerboard? And I was like, oh no, you took this class 7 semesters ago, and each of the 7 semesters after that you taught this class. Anyways, I didn't have a hard time with it. So, it's probably pretty easy. What this means is, no one ever tells me when things are hard, right? You know, you're just like, oh, what's the Mohs hardness of this mineral? And they're like 7. That's any geologists? No? Okay, all right, I'll work on my material. But get it material because materials have hardness? Okay, all right. So, if it seems hard to you, apparently it is. So just do your best. And I will live code the solution in class at some point because I thought the solution was academically interesting. After that, we will bid Carol adieu. Carol will ride off into the sunset. Perhaps never to return. Perhaps to return this time next year. If you are opinion gifted about Carol, you have to put it in the course evals. Okay? All right. Anyways, instead of Carol, we're going to use this little thing called Python. Which instead of being something I never heard of as the most popular programming language in the world, gets more popular every year, and it's already been the most popular language for 5 years. So, I've shown you a little bit of Python, but we're going to do Python Hello World again. We've done Python Hello World, so I'm not going to take too long on this. But we're going to begin with Python Hello World. So we did a Carol thing, and versus Python, the fundamental differences I want to point out to us in the beginning is every time we were using Carol for anything, we typed import Carol in our first line. What that did is that told Python to pretend to be Carol. And by pretend to be Carol, I mean like the environment Carol lives in, not like Python pretending to be like the fake imaginary Pentagon, right? Then we did an optional new line, but we did the new line because it was easier to read. And then we defined a function. In Python, you don't necessarily have to put everything inside of functions, but we can look at a few examples of how this works. So let's open VS Code. I wonder if there's anything interesting here. NASCarol. Ooh, let's run NASCarol real quick. Okay. Oh, there's something called yoink in it. Oh no, this isn't going to work at all. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I have no memory of anything. Ah! Okay, never mind. NASCarol is banned. Okay. NASCarol is riding off into the sunset. Why do I have so many things open? Okay. Is my screen zoom? What is this? Oh, that's Carol. Okay, let's close that too. All right. Whew, that feels a little better, right? Okay. So here's VS Code, freshly decarolified. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to create a new file with Control N. And then I'm going to write some code, which is going to be print, parenthesis, quote mark, hello, space, world. Doesn't matter what you type inside the quotes, end quote. I don't have to type the end paren. VS Code wrote that automatically, but it couldn't write the end quote automatically. Kind of interesting. I'm going to save this file. I'm going to use Control S. You can use whatever you want. And I'm going to save it as something.py. We'll do hi.py. Why not? That's what I like to do. When I saved it as hi.py, I got syntax highlighting, which means the print and the hello are different colors, basically. One of them is a function in Python. One of them is some text in Python. They're all characters that I typed out, but they have different meaning. Sort of the same way nouns and verbs have different meaning. Okay. With all of that done, when I saved it with a .py file extension, I got my little VS Code run button up here, and I can click on that to run the code, and I see my text in the integrated terminal versus seeing the Carol window pop up. It's also approximately 1 billion times faster. Some things we can do here. Previously, in Carol, I put everything inside a def main, and then I indented my code. I'm going to save this. I'm going to run this code. Nothing happens because by default the main function is not called or run or used within Python. If I wish to run the main function, I have to separately call the main function the same way I would move or print or anything else. I can say main down here, and I can press run, and now the main function will run. If we're imagining this the way we run Carol, Python will read def main, understand that main means something and not do anything with it, see the main here, and then look up what main does, and then print hello world. So we can imagine this as being basically the same thing. So this is also Python hello world. Really the fundamental difference is Carol runs main, Python runs whatever you write in your file. I think you can also write this out of order. We'll see. So I think, very good. Okay, so if I write main up here and then define it down here, Python doesn't know what main means when it reads the first line. So you have to put the definitions, def for definition, ahead of the words. So no one knows what main means. This is the same as if this text wasn't here. It's the same error. But if we put main before, if we define main before we ask main to happen, then this works well. And this doesn't have to be named main. This can be named not main. I am following the convention of using underscores instead of spaces in names. And if I not main, then I get to see hello world again. So the name main is no longer important or meaningful to us either. So you all did this, right? It's all working for everyone? We're all happy? Okay. It's much more likely for Python to work than it is for Carol to work. Okay. I have an example here of an error. It is right here. There are, my experience as an instructor, which is not the same as your experience as a student, is that it is unusual for a student to ask me a question and then show me an error message where the answer to the question is not one of the 4 lines of text in the error message. I understand that it might be non-obvious which of the 4 lines there are or what something means, okay? What I would like to encourage you to do is when VS Code gives some error message, for example, it says error or traceback, I would like you to read this carefully and intently, and I think if you were in another class, they would assign you like between 10 and 100 pages of reading a week or something, right? Is that made up? Do you have like classes where you're supposed to read things? Okay. And they don't assign you 4 lines, right? They assign you more than 4 lines. I'm only asking for 4 lines at a time, okay? And if you happen to write the code right the first time, you get to read 0 lines. That's totally fine, right? And I think I do send out a certain amount of tasks and assignment instructions, but it's like 3 pages and it's bullet points, right? I try to avoid writing incomplete sentences because I don't know what a predicate is, right? So, I would like to encourage you, if your code runs and does something other than you expect, you might see an error message. We're going to take one step back. I said if your code runs and does something other than you expect. Oftentimes, students will ask me, hey, my code didn't work, and I will ask the follow-up, what did you expect it to do? And then like a bunch of crickets start chirping, right? And this is very odd to me because crickets don't write code, to my knowledge, right? So before pressing the run button, think what you expect to happen. So we can step through an example right now. If I change not main to main, what do I expect to happen if I press the run button on this code? Think about it. You don't have to say it out loud. Do you want to talk to your neighbors about this?
Yes.
Are we chatty Catherines? Shout out Catherine the Great. Chatty Carols. Yeah. Are you all chatting with each other? I don't see mouths moving.
Yeah. That's what I expect. But maybe we're illiterate and we expect.
You expect you're illiterate?
So let's assume I need to make perspective.
Okay, we're off task. Thank you. I'm going to bring us back. I'm going to walk you through what I expect to happen, and I'll say why, and I don't know if this is what you'll think. So I expect in line 1, Python will get ready to remember a series of actions that are called not main. In line 2, there will be an indentation, so that will be the beginning of the series of actions called not main. So if I'm Python, I now remember there's something called not main, and if someone asks me to not main, I will print hello world. Maybe I should have picked better names, right? Okay. So on Python, I'm thinking, okay, if someone says not main at me, I'm going to print hello world, and then I'm going to be done. When I go to line 3, I'm going to say, as soon as I print hello world, I have no other tasks, right? Because that is an empty line, means I have nothing else going on in my function, not main, so okay, I can set my not main down over here. Then when I get to line 4, someone tells me to main, and I say, I don't know what that is. Specifically, I say traceback name error, right? Because this is something we all say commonly in conversation, right? Yeah. So for example, if someone referred to me by the name of my evil twin Nivlak, I would say traceback name error. That's definitely not me. Me and my evil twin are different people. We don't do all of the same things. and we don't do all of the same felonies, right? So I'm going to press play, and we're going to see what's going to happen, okay? Okay, traceback, file, okay. That's the name of the file. So I'm not allowed to think this text is confusing because that's already on my screen. Now there's a lot of text on the screen, right? But is there more text on the screen than there is in Homer's Iliad?
No.
Right. And I'm allowed to make you read Homer's Iliad in college, I think, right? I should assign Homer's Iliad for next week. You know, Rage, Achilles, whatever. Has anyone read the Iliad? Yeah.
I don't know.
I got in real trouble with my classic studies professor for pointing out that Iliad rhymes with silly bad. That's why they made me major in STEM. Okay, so, all right, so we're not allowed to be confused by this. It's unfortunately against the law, which is crazy that they have laws about these things. Okay, there's line 4. I know what lines are, and I know what 4 is, right? So it's this line. Okay, in module. Okay, that's a little cooked. I don't think I told you what modules are, right? But if you were really genuinely curious, you could type module in Python into Google, skip over the AI overview, and go to the documentation, and a module is a file. A module is a file. Okay, now this is getting to be a lot of text. This is probably longer than the Iliad, right?
No, it makes sense.
No problem. We can just Control F through it and see where module's mentioned, right? Can't Control F the Iliad unless, of course, you're reading an ebook, which maybe you do that, I don't know. Okay. All right. We don't know what modules are, but in fact, Carol's an example of a module, and I will teach you what modules are in the coming weeks. Okay. This main here, that's the exact same text in line 4, right? So this line 4 and that main, these are all referring to the same things, and these arrows are pointing at main. Okay, so there's something wrong with main. Name error. See what happens. No, I'm going back to Google. No, Bing. Who loves Bing? Any Bing appreciators? Shout out grandpas. They're real ones. What am I doing? Name error in Python. Oh, great. Okay. Misspell. Oh, did I misspell a function? That can't be right. I've never misspelled anything before in my life. I'm the one human that has never made a typo, right? Did I mean min? No, I don't. That's even. This is gonna also explode, right? Okay, what I meant was not main, right? Okay. Okay, that worked pretty well. So back in the good old days, tweets were only 140 characters. You remember that? That's way back. That was like in maybe 2005 or something, right? Probably before any of us were alive. And then, then tweets were like 280 characters, and now you can like post the silly bad on Twitter, I think. My historical claim is that this is less than a tweet of text. So I could fit this in a, I could put this as the text part of my Instagram post. I could make probably not even a 1-minute TikTok that has all this text on the screen and explains it, right? Can you make a 10-minute TikTok? Are they still vertical?
Hopefully TikTok.
Well, where do you get your bad opinions from?
Tumblr.
Oh, is Tumblr back? Okay. Tumblr's been back. It's possible Tumblr's back and I'm not back. Okay. All right. So that's how I write Python. Some things I would like to point out to you. I started testing my code when I had written 4 lines. And actually, in fact, I tested it when I had 2 lines. We may recall this. So I tested that. And one of the reasons to test it, because you saw I made a typo there. Oops, I didn't close a parenthesis. Somewhere I'm supposed to close my parenthesis. It's probably right here, but, okay. I bet I can close it here if I want. Oh, that doesn't make sense. What is it doing? That's so interesting, right? Oh yeah, I still have it. Let's try this one. Oh, okay, that was still never closed, because the closed doesn't count when it's the wrong form of text, right? This is a different color. So I have to put it outside. Well, maybe I can put some quotes here, right? Unterminated string literal. Geez, what's that mean? Nope. How do I copy text? Oh, it's Control-Shift-C. Okay. Open syntax error link with system handler. That seems bad. Let's go to DuckDuckGo. Wait, no, Duck. Is this real? Any DuckDuckGoers?
Also my grandpa.
Your grandpa sounds based. Does he want to give a talk in my class?
I could ask
Yeah.
about like DuckDuckGo or like just life.
About being cool.
Sure.
Okay,
I
yeah.
can ask him. He'd probably be happy to come down.
Okay. You cannot nest quotes inside a string, F string, whatever. Okay, so there's not allowed to be quotes in there. Okay. I don't know if that made sense. Cool. Oh, it's working again, right? So I test my Python one line at a time. I test every line. If I see an error, I look it up. If I don't understand the error message, after I have read about the error message, then I get in the class Discord and I make it my section leader's problem, okay? And I think I'm like the emergency backup section leader, right? Okay. Here's, I think, there's some way we can get Python. This can happen. I don't know how. So somehow Python can be running in this terminal. And then if you press play, you get a really goofy error, which is that there's 3 forward sort of arrows before the text that is usually up here. Something to do. Remember how I made you close Carol every time and open it?
Yep.
Yeah, so every time we take out the trash, it says kill terminal, which is actually just 2 euphemisms for murder, right? Because terminate is also. So this is, it's non-violent because it's a computer, right? So, okay, so we do this, we press play, nothing happens. We terminate, not main, press play. Now, you don't have to terminate this one every time if it keeps working, but if there's ever any problem, before you go down the rabbit hole of Googling, DuckDuckGoing, Binging, AskJeeving, Yahooing, sometimes I use, is MSN still a thing? MSN.com.
Wow.
I'm gonna look up DuckDuckGo on MSN. Ooh, I can download Edge. It's powered by Microsoft. No, promoted by Microsoft. That's even better. Oh, Copilot search. It asked an AI what search engine I should use, named DuckDuckGo. Okay. I love computer science. Okay. If it works every time, keep going. Okay. So here's Twitter. You'll notice I'm over the 140 characters, but this is around 160 characters. So that this would fit in a text message. Now I think the kids these days don't have character limits on your text messages, right? Back when I was your age, you had to express your undying love for your middle school prom date or whatever they called it in middle school in 160 characters. Right? This was very difficult. Okay. In Python, we will begin with the famous example of math problems, which I call arithmetic. Okay, so I think not too long ago, you were all probably in something called math class, maybe in high school. And probably in math class, they asked you to do things like calculate values. Does that sound right? Like, hey, what's the area under this curve, you know? Now we're in college, and when we say math problems, we mean like prove the fundamental theorem of calculus using an epsilon delta proof, right?
Yeah.
So I'm referring to performing calculations as arithmetic, because I don't want to call them computations, because that's what the computer does. And I don't want to call them calculations, because that's what a calculator does. So I'm just going to call it arithmetic. Arithmetic is a component of some of the things we do in here. And it's not really the same thing as college level math. Anyways, I don't know what 1,234 times 5,678 is, but I can probably figure it out using Python. So I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 times 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to make a hypothesis of what's going to happen. Did you hear that hypothesis? Remember, this class has science in the name, computer science, right? And obviously, if it has science in the name, it's trying a little too hard, right? But we can still use the scientific method if we get stuck, right? So I'm going to hypothesize that when I press this run button over here, I'm going to see the answer to this mathematical equation, right? Does anyone have any competing hypotheses? Anyone want to go on the record with anything?
I think it's not going to work because you don't have any definitions.
Okay. Do you think I should, or let's run this, see what happens, and then tell me if there's something you want to define. Okay, cool. So what should I define?
The multiplication.
Okay, that is great. This one is magically built in the same way print and def are.
Cool.
So yes, we have some things that are built into Python and some things are not. Main is not built in, multiplication is. I think I can get a similar example where I think if I say like multiply these together, I think this one will give me perhaps a not defined error. Multiply is not defined. Okay. Okay, I'm running this again. Okay, what do I see? Or let's start over. What do I see? Well, I get no errors, but I also don't get the answer. Why is that?
You're going to tell it to print.
I didn't tell it to print anything? I don't think I would have forgot to tell it to print anything. So that can't be the problem with my code, right?
Okay.
No! So something else I would encourage you to do this term, and this is actually much more important when you're teaching than when you're in a class, actually. So it is much more important when I'm teaching, especially my high-level classes where it's very hard to live code. If someone tells you something is wrong with your code, it is much easier for them to tell what you are doing than it is for you to tell what you're doing. Because you have formed an emotional attachment to those 11 keystrokes you put on the screen, and you're like, those were some of the finest 11 keystrokes I ever invested, right? You're wrong. You can make those 11 keystrokes again, no problem. Just cut your losses and try whatever someone says. Now, if you really are attached to your keystrokes, all 11 of them, there's 11 here, right? You can just make a new file and try it. And you can save that as something else, like not high. Or we can call it low. Okay. Now I'm gonna make a new hypothesis. I think this thing's gonna have a lot of digits in it, maybe like 30. Does that seem too many?
Seems like too many.
We think 20?
Maybe like 8.
8?
8.
I think it's gonna have 2 digits.
Okay.
Okay.
A bold assumption.
Okay. Now, cosmologically, 2, 8, and 30 are all the same number, right? Because they're all... Okay, so we have our... is that 7 digits? Are we all banned? Oh, we're silly geese.
So obviously 7.
It was so obviously 7 digits.
1 and 5
Are small, right? They're little. They're little babies.
That was my reasoning for not saying 9, though, instead of down.
What happens if I put a 9 here? Are we cooked?
Yeah.
Yeah, count 8.
Like that? I think that's
Oh, is it still 7?
8. Okay. All right. Okay. What happens if I do this?
Oh, it's going to be really, really big.
So this happens to be exponentiation for those of you following along at home who haven't seen programming languages before. So this is going to be a large number. Specifically, it's going to have more than 4,300 digits. Right? It's more than 7. We can also perform subtraction. This is very exciting, right? Okay, so you can do many of the expected values. Okay, but now we're going to go through just a motivated learning example of a real problem I experience every day. Many of you eat something called food. Is this correct? I, too, eat food. I thought that at some point you would graduate from having to do that, but in fact, I woke up this morning and I was hungry, even though I ate yesterday, right? So, to the best of my knowledge, I think I am approximately 32 years old. Someone asked me how old I was the other day, and I was wrong. So I think it's 32. The reason I think it's 32 is a power of 2, so it's highly likely I'm that age as a computer scientist, right? And I think I eat approximately 2,000 calories a day because when I was reading the Lucky Charms box when I was 8, it says people eat 2,000 calories a day, and I'm a person, right? And that Lucky Charms box wouldn't lie to me, right? You can't just put lies on Lucky Charms boxes. They'd be unlucky charms, or they'd be unlucky not charms, right? So I'm going to calculate, I think, how many calories I've eaten in my life. And I'm going to do that by multiplying how many calories I think I've eaten in a day times I think how many years I have been alive times I think the number of days in a year. And I'm going to do a little bit of rounding because cold day in hell before I recognize leap years, right? February 29th, fake day, right? That's not a real day. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. 2,000 times...
Do 365.25.
No, these are integers. These are nice, graceful, elegant, whole round numbers with no fractional components.
32 to the factor of 465.
Oh no, it didn't show anything. It didn't show. Wait, I already learned how to do this. Okay, wait, no. So I was trying to solve a problem, and the exact same approach I used in an earlier example in class solved the problem I have. But I didn't necessarily remember to do it because I hadn't practiced enough yet. Okay, right, so, okay, that makes sense, okay. Oh, wow, that's a large number. And it has a lot of zeros at the end. That's an 8er, yeah, woo! That's a lot of digits. Do you still ask each other for your digits when you need phone numbers?
No.
I had a car salesman this summer not have a business card, and instead he wrote out his phone number and said Sally on a post-it note and gave it to me, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna call you.
I admire the confidence,
Yeah,
though.
I thought it was great. I want to start calling my phone number Sally.
Okay.
That was his name.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
But his name was Derek.
Maybe it was Derek Selly, car salesperson. Okay. This is what I did. It was fun. Okay. I'm also going to introduce the equal sign. Equal sign is a little bit of a silly goose in programming because I think, like, what does it mean when you ask a computer to equals, right? Usually we use equals to express that two things are equal. And actually that's what we're going to do here. I can create a variable name and I can set it equal to a numerical value. This is something that Carol cannot do. This is the first thing that Carol cannot do. Okay, so what I can do is I can take this and I can make it much more documented and perhaps easier to understand. So I have cals per day, which equals 2,000. I have days per year, which equals 365. Any brats? 365? Yeah, okay.
Are you bumping
It says 200. Maybe I'm not really meeting my dietary goals. Okay. And then years per Kelvin, we'll just say years, is 32. Okay. All right. And then I can use these same values, and I'll just create something perhaps called total, and I'll say that equals cals, day, times days, year, times years. Okay. But I didn't see that, so we have to carry through with the example. Okay. Let's print out the total. Oh my gosh, it has the wrong number of digits. I wonder what I did wrong. Okay.
Oh.
Does anyone know what I did wrong?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone want to tell me what I did wrong, or do you want me to stare at this computer awkwardly while I try and figure out what I did wrong? Why did I suggest that?
No,
Okay.
I think it was you did 365 instead of 365.25.
Okay. I bet that'll fix it. And if not, we're going to tar and feather whoever suggested that. Okay, all right.
For leap years.
Oh.
It's wrong.
Actually,
Better
that
number though.
Wait,
no,
digits.
it's not.
Look, there's more digits.
there's there's a decimal point.
No other difference.
Yeah.
There's also
No, there's an extra 5.
nothing. It's just
Wait, why did it
Seven
change?
30.
Yeah, see, this 5 sprung into being fully formed. And why is that? Because 0.25 times 2,000 is 500, so we have an extra 500.
What will you use the computer for? We're just doing the math.
I know.
Where'd you get the number figure? Why'd you get rid of that?
Because leap years don't exist.
Leap years don't exist. If February wanted 29 days, it should have taken them from January. March, I respect. Right? Okay. So, anyways, so it must not be one of these, right? Because these all look correct. So, the error must be in a later line. So let's see. Total. Okay, that makes sense. I have calories per day times days per year. Wait, why am I adding years? And so when you see an error in your code, what you have to do is you have to make a honking sound because you're a silly goose. So I go, honk, honk, I'm a silly goose. And then you get to change it, okay?
What else was going to this?
Where does it say 32 at the end?
The answer you were getting.
Oh, okay. Let's see, right? So that is something with 3 zeros, right? So probably whatever I multiply this by will have 3 zeros at the end. So it's inherently sussy that there's a 32 there, right? That's a little bit more reasoning than I have in me at 11 o'clock on a Friday. Oh, hey, it's the correct answer. I can't believe I got that with no help from any of you. Okay. So what do we say after we get the right answer? No matter what? First try, right? So after your code runs, you have 2 options. You get to say honk honk, I'm a silly goose, or first try. Those are the only 2 options. And you do not have a right to remain silent. That is, there are no human rights. No, okay, never mind. There are human rights in this class. Please don't put in the course evals that I was denying your human rights. Okay, that's all. You know Python now. Wait, do we? Oh, we can do all this other stuff? Okay, we can do def, for, if, while. That sounds cool. All right. You are encouraged to use comments. This is the number of calories that a Lucky Charms box claimed a normie eats
Wait, put
per...
the end of quotation when you're typing in a comment, but not when you were doing it earlier in the code.
That's so cooked. Look at that. Per day, I think. This is the number of days in a year, according to Charlie XCX, who is never wrong, much like me. First try. Me. Okay. This is an age that is highly likely to be the age of a computer science professor due to it being a power of 2. Specifically, the 5th such power. 5th power.
Rise up.
Never mind. That looked like that was getting close to something that was a terrible idea. Okay. Total. The total is the total. I wonder what the total is. First try. Okay. And the code works the same way, but now I know what it does. Someone wrote like the Iliad in here.
Is that extra credit?
No. This is encouraged.
No, I mean writing the Iliad.
If you wrote the Iliad, I would give you extra credit. Yes.
Homer did that though.
Yeah. Right.
I did homework.
That's actually what home runs are named after. Because home. Yeah. I am now allowing you to start on the assignment. And it occurs to me at this time I have no idea what any of your names are. Yes, do you have a question?
I did want to offer up, I got this at clicking the little run Python file at the top right. So if you press in VS Code, it's Control K and then Control S, you can look at all the keybinds. So when you run Python, you can rebind it to something, so you don't have to click the little arrow every time.
Okay.
I did Alt Enter and that hasn't blown up my PC yet, so I'm hoping that's fine.
It's probably one of these.
That's run Python.
Okay. and I bound mine to Control R. Yeah, but like R button's really that cool. There we go. Okay, so now I can Control R and it runs. So, and yeah, Shift Enter I guess worked.
I did Alt Enter.
Or Alt Enter. Yeah. Phoebe. Ella. S. Ooh, I was sure when I started, and then by like the middle. Sorry, that's not what I meant. First try.
Pokemon are the Magic Gathering.
I'm not a nerd.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm.
You're
cool.
hip and cool.
You know
I'm
what
cool.
those things are.
I'm like the cool professor. It's not like the other professors.
Only because you're not.
Is Charlie XCX still cool? She's old now too. She's older than me. She's a turbo boomer.
Like last summer,
Yeah, well,
and that's pretty recent. I feel like she's still out and about. Yeah.
I actually read what it's like in the whole all the songs. Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
But yeah, their music.
That's a given.
That's not what you want, but it's what will have to work.
This one, no, I actually just remember scanning here previously. So I actually learned what this looks like, which is humiliating for me.
So you see approximately.
Then I started working this fall.
That I know where I'm in class now.
And then I did like take that long, but like I got stood up.
This mile. Just felt like, yeah. I don't remember your name.
I did it just this morning.
This is what I'm on. This is what I'm on. I should just. Oh, is it church? Oh, no.
My girl was function.
No. That was a gift from my class. Thank you, Chloe. Or, I we'll probably always be.
Did you see the?
That's exactly like
For 4 hours. Instead.
Yeah. Do I trust you? I don't know.
They definitely.
That makes sense.
Oh no, I know.
Well, because I have a laptop.
See, that's
I'm important. Dude,
Nice to meet you, Grace.
Yeah.
it's better.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. How much? I'm just understanding. Is it just all the achievements, or did you also try today?
Oh, Harold doesn't know.
And I was like, you know what?
That's fine.
Those are.
Because those are fun.
Those are fun.
I did some of the A sides. And I did
I could not.
I was like, the first thing you teach students is that they're good at numbers and bad at everything else, right? They're like, nope.
I did that. Yeah. That was fun. Okay. Well, I just like used to do this. And then I said,
I like it.
yeah, so I'm that's what I'm doing.
I honestly,
Now on sound.
I don't mind
That will make
it
it take
because well, this isn't
No, it's not your
my schedule.
actually good.
this semester we have a lot of like, I'm not like the because we do like morning and after we have the later school
Like
practices,
8 p.m. to 8
and so a
p.m.
lot of the pool till like 7 p.m.
So like,
Out of the pool, so like shower and get versus like the morning practice is like sometimes it's like done, you know. Like I don't almost like go back in the afternoon, or at least when I just have morning class, but we'll go
Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna go find out where it is. Wait, no, I have to wait.
there's like,
Oh, so I
like there's
I think something like that. Like I know, 7.
That's really good.
Or not 7, sorry.
Something happens.
1 p.m. on campus. 2 like right
So now
Yeah.
it's spoiled up 6 minutes done. That's crazy.
I'm not, our coach does a lot.
today.
Oh, I didn't say hi to you.
It was good.
But we've had probably
Oh, okay.
we've had like people that take like
So we can-
like dislocate their shoulder.
This is wonderful information.
Yeah, it's live right now. Probably should stop. Like, wandering around.
Yeah, I'm not even a freshman, so I don't know him super well.
I didn't want to see
Yeah, so this whole thing started when
Yeah.
everyone was trying to give me the first all or something else, and I was like, students
I
stop
would
reading
think
last
for another year that I transferred here. So
Sorry, what I meant was follow me on here.
I've been watching him.
That's right. I swam around.
Yeah.
One of the friends,
Yes.
like an earlier year, and a student asked about it. And I said, are you going to do the video? Which I thought was, that was, I thought so much. No, they like,
I say.
There's like,
but he is anyway.
if you have one, so that is my opinion. And my freshman is relatively clear.
Oh yeah.
If she's not right,
Yeah, I don't play. I played for like a year and a half, and then all the
they should know.
stopped being an academic meeting. So
I was like,
I hear about
Yeah, that's fine. Well, the other thing
I turned on the wall and I the guy, yes, the guy who's a cheese bar, has a cheese bill.
people like to get out of that super depressed, just like also everything's not going to last like I'll make depression. Yeah, so like whatever reason you're not here, I don't really like not I mostly just provide
Just like the real, just like the history of the for doubles.
Remember that someday. That's for sure. Probably you always that's even worse.
since we've gotten this table position,
All right. I think it's like an aromatic like so I know what it smells like. So actually, if you're also drinking
See,
Oh, I skipped this table because I don't know who any of you are. No, I remember Kayla because your name was on the television screen downstairs. You're famous, remember?
I wanted to run it. It's more about like I can't write. That's totally not correct.
That could be neat. No, but it could be neat.
It's a beautiful, beautiful.
So you definitely have to be. Okay, so let's just eliminate some of the obvious. And it's probably composed of letters. Is it composed of even or odd number of letters?
It's just someone better.
Is the even number 6? Okay. I was getting a distinct 6-letter energy. Yeah. Well, I think I've gotten most of the way there. Why don't you tell me what the 6 letters are? It's 6. That was so easy to remember. Jensen. I'm sorry. Sorry. Jensen. First try. There we go. No, I'm supposed to honk. Okay. All right. So, my recollection is you're named after an English king. Did I make that up?
No.
Okay. Is it Henry? Why aren't you named after an English king? Okay. That's on you. I don't remember your name either. How many letters do you have?
6.
We share 3. Is it the first and last 2? Okay. Corbin. I do also have. We share 1 letter. That's good. We share 1 letter.
Turn that twice.
There we go. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah. Send me an email with your GitHub username and the email account you use to create your GitHub, and I'll try and get you access. I think you're probably going to stop using GitHub because it is still one of the best ways you can get. And I'm pro at taking whoever names I can do. Jensen. Henry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Not really released yet.
When you guys actually do.
Alright, I think, I don't know which clock is first. That one says we're done. My watch doesn't. Don't be too loud because I might be letting me leave for it, really. If GitHub doesn't work, email me your GitHub username and your Gmail, or your email you used to create it, and you're not responsible for anything that happens after you send that email.
Yeah, that clock's just wrong.